basic types of equity. What are they? Contributed capital and retained earnings. There's one other one that is sort of in between. What was that stuff called? It doesn't hit the income statement, but it's equity. You ever from chapter 5?
I know it's like an L and a T.
Now close. Other, that is an OT. Yeah, other comprehensive income, right? Anyway, you don't have to know that stuff yet, right? But I just wanted you to know it exists. It's out there. It can be really big in companies. Unfunded pension plans, yeah, things like that. It can be ugly, okay, really bad. Losses in the stock market, right? The unrealized losses. Remember we talked about that a little bit? So you'll see those things. But what we're going to work on are these two, okay? Contribute capital, the owners contributing to the business, right? And retain earnings. Okay, so let's do an investment in the company. We've already done this, haven't we? Let's do a journal entry. Let's say that the company is going to issue stock to new shareholders, right? Say we're starting the company, and the shareholders are going to put in cash of $30,000, inventory of $50,000, equipment of $100,000, because these new owners have this stuff and they're going to contribute to the business. Got it? Okay, maybe they've all been running separate businesses as sole proprietorships. By the way, read the appendix to this chapter. I'm not going to test on anything, but read it. It's a couple pages long, and it talks about sole proprietorships and partnerships, which are different than corporations. They're businesses that have not issued stock. That's all it is. Okay, so instead the ownership is directly by the owners. Okay, so anyway, maybe these are partnerships or sole proprietorships. Then we have land, and let's say land's $150,000. So that's what gets contributed to the business. Sorry. I don't think it's a cold. I think it's just stupid allergies. Again. All right, anyway. So we add all that up. And that's what we're going to have is what? Assets that we're contributing. And let's say they issue common stock. And let's say it's $1 par value. Okay. Could you record this? I know you can record this side of it. I don't know if you can record the other side if you didn't read the chapter, right? But I figured out pretty easy. They even mentioned it earlier in the book. And write the journal for that. What's that journal? What did the company get? All those assets. What did the company give up? The stock. Issued stock, right? Write the journal for that, okay? Simple. I'm going to actually give you points for doing this. All right, so freebies. Just work a bit at it. They got more equity now, right? Because they issued that stock. Everybody agree with that? Okay, what do you want to debit? What did the company get? All those assets. What do you want to debit? All those assets. I'm not kidding. Debit cash. $30,000. Debit inventory. $50,000. And we say, oh man, this is a complex entry. Huh? It's not. Equipment. Whatever they got. $100,000. Land. $150,000. What if we also assume the liability? They have accounts payable and we take it over. Well, credit the liability then, right? Because now you have it, right? The company has it. Big deal. Okay, so those are all the debits. What does that total to, by the way? 3 what? 330. Okay. So guess what? I need credits for 330. What are they? How about common stock? Because they issued common stock. You like that? But be careful. It's not going to be 330 of common stock. Somebody read the chapter. Tell us what we're going to put in there. Oh, I didn't tell you how many shares, did I? Oh, no. Let's say it is 100,000 shares. Whoops, that's not a dollar, sorry. 100,000 shares. Better have shares. Okay, I'm issuing 100,000 shares, and I'm getting 330,000 of assets. Got the idea? What do you want to credit common stock for? the par value times 100,000 shares. Okay? So it's going to be what? 100,000. Sound good? But wait a minute. I need to credit something else for how much? 230. What do you call this cleverly? Paid in capital in excess of par, or additional paid in capital on common stock. Got it? That's it. Big deal. Okay? That's still equity. All right, so when you look at a balance sheet in the equity section for a company, you are going to see common stock, preferred stock, and you're going to see additional paid in capital on both. How much was the stock issued for when they issued the stock? For those two added together, right? Common stock plus the additional paid in capital, or preferred stock plus the additional paid in capital. That's it.
Capital in excess of par.
Yes, you can call it capital in excess of par if you want, on common stock later. Yeah, that works just fine. That's what the author uses. Or you can call it additional paid in capital. Other authors use that. You'll see both on companies right there. Okay? All right. So what's the deal with common? There's also preferred, right? Preferred stock. What's preferred stock? They get preferences. Well, preferred is sometimes preferred and sometimes not so preferred. Okay? It's preferred in the sense that they get their dividend first. Okay? It's preferred in liquidation, which means if the company goes bankrupt, they get paid before the common shareholders do. Okay, so what's the order if you liquidate the company, close the company, sell everything off, and liquidate, which means you just pay everything, right? Okay? Who gets paid first? The employees. They get paid first, right? If you owe the employees salaries, they get paid first. Then who gets paid? The government, taxes, and they're next. Who gets paid next? Secured creditors, like bondholders. You read about bond covenants, right? Where they have the first right, you know? And then what? Any other secured creditors at the same time. Mortgages, right? Sell the building, they get the money. Right? Contracts on equipment, you sell the equipment, they get the money, right guys? Okay, maybe somebody has the inventory as collateral, sell the inventory, they get that, right? Okay, then what? Unsecured creditors, all the other liabilities. We're getting way down the list, aren't we? Then who gets paid? Preferred shareholders. Who gets paid last? Common shareholders. So who should have a higher expected return? Remember, it's expected return. There's no guaranteed return here on any of it, right? People can go bankrupt and not pay you. Okay, so there's risk. Who's taking the most risk? Common shareholders. Who should have the highest expected return? Common shareholders. And those of you who take 211, I'm going to show you how to determine an estimate of how much they should get as a return. Different people should get as a return. Debt holders and equity holders, right? We're going to estimate that, what you should expect, given how the company's set up, okay? Everybody, when you do Finance 315, if you're a business major, when you do accounting or Finance 315, you're going to do exactly the same thing here. So it's terrible having to compete with the accounting majors at Finance 315 because they already know how to do that, right? They do. So life's kind of like that, you know. You take classes. Well, in this situation, there are people in this class who had accounting in high school, and if they had a really good teacher in high school, it's an extreme advantage. Although if they had a really horrible teacher in high school, anybody, never mind, don't say that. Okay, but if you went to high school where they did bookkeeping, this is a real shock to the system when you come in here. If you went to high school where they did accounting, oh, nice. You've done the first 4 chapters of this class in a year in high school typically, right? But at least they do it well, so that's good. Anyway, high school is not about getting ready for a career anyway. It's about socialization. K through 12 is, you know, basic knowledge, but mostly turning you into a good citizen, we hope, right? By the time you're done. I really firmly believe that. Getting ready for your career is here, right? When you get to college. Okay, anyway, so we've got this. What if it was preferred stock instead then? What would change in this journal entry? I think I would credit preferred stock. Yeah. We'd have to change another one. Wouldn't be additional paid in capital and common. What would it be? Yeah, big deal. I'm going to give you points for knowing this stuff. Isn't that nice? Very simple. Okay, that's it. So we're issuing stock. Well, you know what? In addition to issuing the stock, oh, one other thing. I said this is par value. What is par value? there are states that have par value, there are states that have stated value, and there are states that have no par. Okay? Now, here's what this is. Par value is listed in your articles of incorporation. The states that do that, right? No state law, right? So when you file articles of incorporation, what's going on? You are asking the state for permission to do business in their state. How often does the state say no to people? Let's see. I would like to invest money in your state, provide employment in your state, and pay taxes in your state. Is that okay? Yeah, they're going to say yes, unless what? You have been convicted of embezzlement, stealing from people, right? You're a felon, right? What's the deal? They don't want you to come in and set up a business and rip everybody off, right? So they'll stop you, right? Or if you want to do something illegal, I would really like to set up, a drug cartel and we're going to sell heroin. It's probably not. And they're not going to like to do that one. Okay, so, regulated industry says everything. Or in Kentucky, I'd like to do bourbon or something. Yeah, anyway. Actually, they will let you start bourbon businesses in Kentucky if you know what you're doing. Right? So pay all the fees and stuff. So I shouldn't say we would. We don't want competition. Okay, anyway. So that would be a par value, then it's just listed in the article of incorporation. Stated value would be the whole board of directors meeting, and you state that out. Got it? So either one works exactly the same. So this amount that goes into common stock or preferred stock is either par value or stated value. What if it's no par? Some states have no par. There's no such thing as additional paid in capital. You just credit common stock for the full amount. Got it? That makes sense? Not a big deal. Okay? So after you issue this stock, if you want, you can buy it back. Can a company go out in the marketplace and buy their own stock? The answer is yes. You can go out in the marketplace and buy your own stock if you want to. Why? And that's going to be called treasury stock. Now, is that an investment for the company? No. Why is it not an investment? Because it's your stock. You bought yourself. You know what? If you could get rich by buying yourself, what I would do is I would issue $100 million of stock to myself, and then I'd promise to pay myself later, and I'd debit accounts receivable for myself, and I'd credit equity, right, common stock for $100 million, and I would suddenly have $100 million, and I could live really well, right? It's meaningless, isn't it? And you owe yourself $100 million, there's no such thing, right? Okay, so you can't, this is real important, you cannot own yourself, right? It's meaningless, right? And you can't have a profit or a loss off of doing business with yourself, right? That's impossible. It didn't happen. You didn't get richer by doing business with yourself or poorer by doing business with yourself. It doesn't happen, okay? So remember that. So when I do equity, what's going to happen? If I buy back my own stock, what's going to happen? It's not an investment, it's a what? Reduction of equity. So we got another contra account. What's this one named? I'm buying stock and putting it in my treasury. Buying back my own stock, right? I'm going to cleverly call it treasury stock. Okay? Treasury. We never talked about that anymore. Okay? So treasury stock. So I'm buying my treasury stock. So here we went. Oh, by the way, what was the market value of this stock we issued? The par was $1. What's the market value of it? Can you tell me? What did we issue it for? $330,000. How many shares were there? 100,000. What is it per share? $3.30 each? What'd you say? You got 330,000 for 100,000 shares. Come on, you guys, wake up. Okay, come on, right? 330,000, 100,000 shares. Can you divide 100,000 shares into the 330,000 that was paid for them and determine it was worth $3.30 each? The market value at that date must be $3.30 per share. You guys agree to that? You got 330,000 for 100,000 shares. That must be what they're worth in the marketplace. It's the first time you ever issued stock. That's your beginning market value. Got it? Okay? So the par is just an arbitrary value. Doesn't mean much. The market value is what matters. I don't know about you, but when I invest in stock, I have to pay the market value. I don't get to pay the par value. Par value might be 1/10 of 1%. They've done a bunch of stock splits. Okay? 1/10 of 1 cent. Right? 1/100th of 1 cent. You're not going to pay the par. You're going to pay whatever it's selling for. $80 a share, maybe, right? Okay. All right. So let's do some treasury stock here, you guys. Let's buy back some of our own stock. So we issue those 100,000 shares. Let's buy back 1,000 of them. Okay. So I'm going to purchase 1,000 shares of my own stock, right? And I'm going to call this treasury stock. That's what it is. Okay? But let's say in the meantime, the value per share went to $4 per share. It's being sold out there in the marketplace. So now I think it's worth $4, not $3.30. Time went by. Got the idea? So it increased in value, which we like. We're happy about that. Okay? So is UK playing basketball too? That's a joke. They won last night, didn't they? Some crummy team. I thought it was really cool that they're players. She doesn't know. She just wears that. But I thought it was really neat that their players told the coach that they didn't care if they were seeded fourth or third or second or first. Good to beat everybody anyway.
I think Saturday is going to be a fun time.
Oh, I think it's great because I like both teams really well. I was at Indiana State, so I was a big IU fan, and both of my kids went to IU for a while. Neither one graduated from there, but they graduated from here actually because I came down here. But yeah. I was a big IU fan. My wife hates Bobby Knight. She still hates Bobby Knight, but she loves IU.
Did you graduate from Indiana State?
Oh no, I taught there.
Oh, you
I
taught?
taught there. I went to University of Oregon for my PhD, obviously, and then I was out on the West Coast at University of Puget Sound for undergraduates, a place like this, and Pacific Lutheran for my master's, also a place like this. Two liberal arts.
So you like this kind of place?
Yeah. And the first 2 years I went to community college, like junior college, they called it community college in California. Luckily I had a guy that was really good at teaching accounting. So I was going to be a lawyer, and I thought I could get a job while I went to law school if I got an accounting degree first. And then I found out that CPAs make more money than attorneys. I'm like, go to law school for 3 years, make less money to start? I don't think so. Not that attorneys can't make a lot of money. And not that there are CPAs that aren't making very much money. That's true, but on average, you're just really better off. At that time, it was a 4-year degree instead of 7 years. So, yeah. And I was a greedy, obnoxious little kid. So then what I did was I went and did a PhD so I could make a lot less. Don't go do a PhD. It's crazy. Yeah. So, seriously, make a lot less money because you went to school forever. Oh, well. Anyway, so what do we do with this? How much money are we going to give them? $4,000? 1,000 shares at $4? Credit what? Please don't miss that one. Cash? Debit what? Treasury stock. Tell me again, what kind of an account is this? It's a contra equity account, right? I'm going to subtract it at the very bottom of my equity section, right? It's a debit, okay? So read the chapter, I guess. Okay, now let's say the time goes by and the stock is selling for yes, ma'am.
So if you like owe yourself anything, why would you credit cash?
Oh, because I bought the stock from the shareholders. I gave them the cash. I gave up the cash. But I'm buying my own stock. I can't invest in myself, right? So I don't owe myself anything, but yeah. Yeah, I actually gave up the cash. Okay, good question. Good question. Okay, let's say now time goes by and the stock is selling for, let's say $4.50 a share, okay? So I sell some. I decide to sell 600 shares, and now the market value, right, is $4.50 per share. Got the idea? Time changed. Value changed over time. So 450. So what's 600 times 450? What are we going to get? Now the cash, of course, right? How much would that be? Is that 2,700? 24 and, yeah, that looks right. 2,700? What are you going to credit treasury stock for, though, you guys? Well, we only paid $4 a share, right? So how much are you going to take out? $4 a share, right? How much would that be? 2,400, right? What's the extra 300? These new shareholders contributed some more additional paid-in capital. Got it? So additional paid-in capital on treasury stock. Okay? We got another account. A couple new accounts here, huh? But big deal. Okay? Everybody got it? Okay, now, let's say this is the first time I ever bought treasury stock. So my balance in additional paid-in capital is only 300. Got the idea? That's what's in that account. Now let's say, you know, things don't go so well at the bottom. We're a new drug company, and the reason our stock is going up pretty fast was because we have a drug that's going to hit the market. And now we find out that the FDA says, no, it's not. You can't sell your drug. And now our stock is selling for $1 per share. Right? So the owners gambled, right? Took a risk, and it hasn't paid off yet. They're not bankrupt, right? But, it goes down to $1. And we decide to sell the other 400 shares. I don't know why. I guess we want the $400 because we're broke, okay? Right? We'd like the 400 shares sold so that we can get the $400 they're now worth, okay? We're really on the ropes, okay? Maybe. So how much cash are we going to get for our shares, the other 400? $400, right, guys? You know, $1 a share, okay? How much treasury stock did we sell? It's 400 times $4 we paid for it, right? 1,600. Everybody agree? We put 4,000 in, and then we took out 2,400, and then we took out the other 1,600. Got the idea? So what are you going to do with the $1,200? By the way, why is this not a gain? Why didn't I debit cash 2,700, credit treasury stock 2,400, and credit gain on sale of treasury stock for 300? Why did I go to additional paid-in capital? Who am I doing business with? Myself, right? Can't have gains and losses. I'm doing business with myself. From an economics perspective, is that a gain? Of course it is, right? You have 300 more wealth in the company. But you wouldn't record it as a gain because you're doing business with yourself. It's just more contributed capital. Got it? Is this one going to be a loss then? No, right? Wouldn't record a loss. But what can I do? I have 300 additional paid-in capital. Can I get rid of that? Sure. Can I take more than 300 out of additional paid-in capital, though? No. So additional paid-in capital from treasury stock is going to be debited for 300, isn't it? What am I going to do with the rest? What is that? $900, is it? I'm going to go to retained earnings with it. Partly because I don't know what else to do with it. I guess that's probably true. But here's the theory. I'm taking some of my retained earnings and I'm giving it to these new shareholders to get them to be part of the company. What do you think about it? Make sense? So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay? So now we've done treasury stock and we've done contributed capital, huh? Pretty easy chapter. Yes, ma'am.
Why wouldn't you put,
Can't be a loss. Right? Can't be a gain or a loss. So this credit here on the first sale, it's an economic gain, yes, but you don't call it a gain in your income statement, right? It's just more additional paid-in capital. And here, is this an economic loss? Yes, but you wouldn't reflect a loss. You're doing business for yourself, right? So you get rid of the additional paid-in capital, and then you reduce your retained earnings. Yes, ma'am. For sure.
Could you take it out of the common stock additional one?
No. You don't take it out of the common stock unless you retire the stock, which we'll do in a later class. You could buy back the treasury stock and then sell it. Or, I'm sorry, not sell it, retire it. And then if we did that, we'd credit treasury stock, we'd debit common stock, and we'd debit additional paid-in capital, the original amount that it was sold, and we'd debit retained earnings for the rest. Okay, so we won't go there. Okay, we'll do that later. All right. Let's see. Why would you buy this treasury stock again? Maybe I have, maybe I didn't say that yet. Why would we buy back this treasury stock? Maybe there's a shareholder we don't like. We've got somebody that bought 1,000 of those 100,000 shares we issued, and they're just a pain in the ass. They just drive you crazy, right? Trying to run the company personally, right? They're not one of the officers. The other shareholders may just decide we don't want them anymore. We will offer them a good price for their stock to have them go away and leave us alone. And they do, right? There's one reason. Another is maybe that the takeover artist trying to take over your company. And they're buying your stock, trying to get enough shares that they can take over the company. And management doesn't want them to do that because they'd like to keep their jobs. And this is a real interesting ethical issue. They pay something called green mail to get rid of it. They pay more than they paid for the stock. So there are people out there. I don't like this career path very well, although you can get very wealthy doing it. You go out and you try to take over other companies, you buy up their stock, and what you're doing is putting pressure on the management to give you a really big check to go away and leave them alone. What value did you add to the economy or value to that company? Nothing. You just extracted wealth, right? But it's legal, right? You can do it. So that'll happen. By the way, whose money are they giving? Let's say you're the takeover artist, and all these guys own stock. Whose money are they giving you to keep their jobs? The shareholders, right? The shareholders all own it, right? They're giving you some of their money to keep their job. What do you think of that? So if you're the CEO of the company and you do that, what about your ethics? We could question his, right? Because he's not adding any value. But I think we could question yours even more, huh? Because you're protecting your job. Besides, you might take over, and when you do, you're going to make all these guys very rich because you're going to buy their stock, right? So they might be better off to take your money, right? So anyway, it's a really interesting issue. And you fight over that, of course, in board meetings, right? Shareholder meetings, because you're contacting all the shareholders asking to sell them your stock, their stock. You got the idea?
Is there like a lot of capital to
Oh, you got a lot of money. You got to pay for it, right? But you know what people will do is they'll arrange to borrow a whole bunch of money in the company's name to pay the stock off, and then they'll close down the company, liquidate it. Everybody loses their jobs that works there. They shut the business down. The town where it happens to be is in trouble. And this is a huge issue. There are movies they've made about this that are glorified, you know, glamorized. There was one with Danny DeVito, and there's a beautiful, Hostile Takeover Second. There's one with Danny DeVito, you know, he's short, kind of, he's built like me. Yeah, anyway, so he's kind of short, chubby, and he's got, of course, the beautiful woman falls in love with him, of course. This always happens in Hostile Takeovers, but anyway, so it was just to make a movie out of it. But, that's what the story's about. They're taking over this company, and they're horrible people and stuff. But you know what? If a company is not making enough profit to sustain itself and pay their employees and pay taxes and so on, maybe they should go broke and let somebody else take over that economic activity. You could take that argument too, right? If I invest my money in your company, she's taking it over. Okay, and you're doing a horrible job running it. Maybe we should get rid of you. Right? Don't you think? And take that investment and put it someplace where it's going to benefit society as a whole, don't you think? So maybe takeover artists are good for the economy. And that's the other argument, right? Got it? So they kind of fun stuff. The other thing you might do is you might buy the stock to give it as stock bonuses to your management or stock bonuses to your employees as a whole. You can do that too, okay? So there is treasury stock. You'll see that. Okay, good. Anyway, so that's treasury stock. We've done treasury stock now. Let's do this thing. Authorized stock, authorized shares, issued shares, and outstanding shares. This is very simple, you guys. When I file my artisan corporation with the state, I ask for permission to issue stock. So maybe I say I want to issue 100,000 shares. That'd be way too few. I'd never do that. But if you did, okay, 100,000 shares. You're just starting a business. You don't know how many shares you need, maybe. Okay, issued would be the ones that we issued. Actually, how many did I just issue? Was it 100,000? Did I issue 100,000? How many did I issue just now? Oh, well then let's say it was 1 million. But let's say it's 500,000. Let's make it 500,000. So I decide I'm going to issue 500,000 someday, right? Authorized. Issued means I sold them. I issued, right? So now I've issued 100,000. Okay. All right. So issued are the ones I've ever issued. Got it? Okay. And we just made journal entries for that, didn't we? What's outstanding? Well, issued and outstanding could be the same. I have the same amount issued as I do outstanding. Outstanding means they're out there being traded. But what if I buy back some treasury stock? You're going to read about this in the chapter, work a few problems. It's going to be easy. Okay, treasury stock, I bought back 1,000. Is that what I bought when I first bought it? So let's say I still have those 1,000 shares. Can you tell me how many are outstanding? You know, you issued 100, you bought back 1,000. How many are outstanding? 99,000. Now, if I'm going to pay a cash dividend or do a stock dividend, right? So you can do both. Cash dividends, I give the shareholders cash. Stock dividends, I give them more stock, right? If I'm going to pay a dividend, who am I going to pay dividends to? Oh, by the way, there's one other term. There's unissued shares, which I hope is obvious. If I authorize 500,000 and I issue 100,000, how many are unissued? 400,000? Could you give me that answer? No kidding. You're looking at points here on the quiz and test. Okay, it's gonna be easy, right? So 500,000 authorized, 100,000 issued. There's 400,000 unissued, of course. Am I going to give dividends to the people, or am I going to give dividends on the unissued shares? Who owns those shares? Nobody, right? I'm not going to write a check to nobody. I have to write the check to myself, the company. Am I going to give dividends on the treasury stock? I own those. I'm not going to write myself a check. So who are you going to give dividends to? Only the outstanding shareholders. Got it? For stock dividend and for cash dividend. Yes, ma'am?
No,
Answer it? Okay. All right. Got it? This is easy, isn't it? Okay, so let's say that I do a dividend, a cash dividend. And this could be common stock or preferred stock. Doesn't make any difference. Works the same way, right? Okay. Let's say I do a dividend of $1 per share. I decide to do a $1 per share dividend. How much would my dividend be? $99,000, of course. Okay, so now let's switch to doing dividends. Okay, let's switch to doing dividends. Let's do a cash dividend. Okay, here's a cash dividend. And this one happens to be a common stock cash dividend if we declare this as common stock, we decided this. Okay, you guys already know how to do this, don't you? If you were to pay the dividend on the same day that you declare it, you decide to do it, the board votes to do it, you know, and you pay it the same day. I own 100% of the stock. I decide to give myself a $99,000 dividend. I guess I can give it to myself, huh? I can write the check, right? Give it to myself. So what would the deal be? Credit, cash, and debit what? What do you debit, everybody? Dividends, not expense. You didn't say expense. No. It's not an expense to give some of the profit to the owners. It's a direct reduction of retained earnings. Remember? Okay. I'll make fun of you for that one. I just did.
Payments are like other.
Yeah. If I pay dividends to somebody else, it's still just a dividend. If I earn dividends, it's dividend revenue. I never have dividend expense. Okay. No such thing. Right? Yes, sir.
What's like the purpose behind the company giving dividend? Just to be nice.
That's interesting. Yeah, the owners want to take some of the money out.
Just be nice.
Let's say the company earned $1 million and I'd like to take 99,000 out. I can do it if I want.
Yeah.
I just pay myself some of the profit. Do I care whether or not somebody gives me a dividend? I have investments in different companies, right? Okay, I do mutual funds. So I have a whole bunch of different companies that I own a little bit of. Do I care whether or not they give me a dividend? Not the least. If they give me a dividend, what do I have to do? Reinvest in something else. Or, you know, somebody gave me, I said in the other class, somebody gave me a $20,000 dividend, what would I have to do? My wife would buy a new car, right? Yeah, probably. Yeah, okay, anyway. She would buy a car, what would I want to do? Buy some other stock. So if you have my money and you earn some more, and you still have really good things you could do with it to keep it growing, what would I rather you do? Keep reinvesting. What if you can't do anything with it anymore? You know, you're earning really good returns, and the company's growing, and it's growing maybe even faster than you can control it. What should you do, probably? Give me a dividend, and I'll invest in something else. Got it? Although you could invest in other companies for me, right, and hold the investments within that company. That'd be just fine, too. That's what the investments chat is going to be about. Okay? All right? We're sort of on the tip of the iceberg now, aren't we, guys? This is going to get to be fun, right? But you know what? You can't write a novel unless you can spell. You can't spell unless you know the alphabet. Kind of like that. So hang in there. Keep doing what you're doing in all these classes, and then business is fun. It's just bullshitting with people for a living and you're paid well. It's kind of nice, right? It really is. I'm not kidding. But every profession is that. You know what's going to be fun about pharmacy? It's not putting pills in bottles. Machines are going to do that. It's dealing with people. It is. It's going to be challenging, and it's also going to be fun. And it's going to be annoying. You hate people. Oh, good. Be a pharmacist. No, but every job that pays well is dealing with other people and solving problems for them, right? And a good pharmacist is really valuable, right? In your life. People really care, you know. I don't have to take any drugs because I'm infinitely healthy. I don't know why. But anyway, so I've never had to take drugs. I did have a little thing on my neck, cancer. It would have killed me. So luckily I have a good doctor. But a better example, I don't have a pharmacist because I don't take drugs anyway, so at least not legal. No, I do take legal drugs. Beer, wine, right? Beer, wine, and bourbon. Yeah, so I do take legal drugs. Those are drugs, right? Yeah, remember what these things are. Anyway, but I don't take illegal drugs. So, and I don't take prescription drugs. But I do have a doctor that I've had for years, and she saved my life once already. Because she saw it. She sent me to a dermatologist who also saved my life because he realized what it was. And then he sent me to this guy that had a big hole out of my neck, I'm not kidding, and got rid of the cancer. Which he said in 2 years I'd have been dead. Always get visitors. Always get visitors. That's just when you get old. Always get visitors. All your life. No, this wasn't regular skin cancer. This was a melanoma down, way down inside. I think would have got down to my arteries. No, they still do this. They still do this. That's cool. That's nice.
That's the company my dad works for.
That's neat. Cool. No, this one doesn't work yet. Yeah. This is the name of this procedure. Some guy here in Louisville actually that created it. He carved a hole out of you, right? Yeah. But what they did was they cut the thing off and a bunch of skin out of it too. And then they did a lab test while I sat there. And then they were going to go take more if they didn't get it off, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's really primitive if you think about it. Like the way guys still do. So you guys, I could have died and you wouldn't have to be putting up with me. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's terrible. Anyway, so messed up your life. All right, let's do a cash dividend anyway. There are 3 dates now instead of just the date you pay it. What we've got, get something done here. We've got the date of declaration. So you're going to need to do these, and this is really simple. So let's get this real quick. And then you'll have to remind me where I am because I didn't get as much done in your class as the other class, did I? You said do both of these because there's something wrong with it. Okay, anyway, date of declaration. Wants to know too much. Daryl. Date of record. Okay. And date of payment. Okay? So what would we do on each of these dates? And why do we have these? If I was paying myself the dividend, I'd just write myself a check, right? Have the company write me the check. Okay, my company write me a check, my employees. What if I'm General Motors and I have millions of shareholders? I don't even know who they are on a given day, right? So much less be able to write them a check that day. So what we do, on the date of declaration, the board decides there's going to be a dividend. So let's say this is March 1st, okay? Let's make the date of record March 15th. Just a few days later sometime. What we do is we figure out who owns the stock on that day, because people are buying and selling the stock every day. So you find out who you're going to write the check to. Does that make sense? And then on the date of payment, let's say that's March 30th, okay? We're making the payment on March 30th. Well, we need to write all the checks and send them out, right? But people are still buying and selling the stock, right? So if you buy the stock before the date of record, right, you get the dividend, right? Before or on. If you buy it after that date, if you buy it out in here, you don't get the dividend. And we would say the stock is selling X dividend. So if you look at the Wall Street Journal or you look online at Yahoo Finance or something, it'll say X dividend next to it. What does that mean? You don't get it if you buy the stock. Well, if it's a $1 per share dividend, what do you bet the price of the stock will go down by $1 on the day that it goes X dividend? Don't you suppose? Right? Because the old owner is going to get the $1. They're going to pay for the $1 if they don't get the $1, right? So now you know that, okay? So this stuff is really useful, and it's just business knowledge, okay? What would be your journal entries on each of these dates? Date of declaration, what do you have? Debit, cash dividend, common stock cash dividend if you want, or go straight to what account? Retained earnings. So that'd be for the $99,000, huh? Because what are you going to do with cash dividends? Close it to retained earnings, right? It's a temporary equity account. And credit what? I'm not paying it, you guys, but I now owe it. What would you credit? Cleverly, things I owe I call payable, and this is a dividend I owe, so I call it dividends payable. You're welcome. It's going to be easy. All right, Dave. Date of record. All I do is I find out who I'm going to write checks to. What happened? Nothing. No entry. Too easy. And one more thing. What I didn't do with these guys is stock split, right? It's the only thing.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Stock split, yes. Date of payment. Guess what I do on the data payment? I pay it. What do I pay it with? Cash. What am I paying off? It's not debit retained earnings again, or it's debit cash dividends. What is it? You're paying off the dividend payable. So you guys do know a lot. And I'd like you, especially if you did really horrible on this last test, which most of you didn't, okay? If you did really horrible on it, I want you to acknowledge to yourself that you do know a lot. You just didn't know it well enough, right? So fill it in. And then on this stuff, I have a suggestion for you, because we're getting to the end of the semester. Why don't you learn these last 4 chapters as we do them, instead of waiting until you're studying for the test? Why would that be a good strategy? 1, you'll get more points on the quiz. 2, you'll actually be able to get ready for the test. 3, you'll already know it when you're getting ready for the final, and you have to go back and learn the crap you didn't learn for the rest of the semester. Do that in all your classes, okay? It'll really pay off. Finish strong here, okay? Finish strong. See you guys. Have a good one. Don't enjoy the sunshine, go to the library and study.